Morning YouTube, it's Sam from Sam's Garden Maintenance. In this video we're going to start discussing tools and my tools and what I've used, and hopefully from this video there should be a few nuggets of information that can help steer you towards your choice in the best start tools. Now before we start, I've only ever used one brand, so I can only really give my opinion on one brand, but at the same time there's no right choice and there's no wrong choice. What's good for me is going to be rubbish for somebody else, and what's rubbish for somebody else is probably what I've been using successfully over the years and I've had no trouble with. There's a general rule when people say, when they ask questions like what's the best tools or what's my best choices for tools, is normally, other than people's personal preferences, the next best information people pass on is basically they say look at what dealers are around you. So there's no point buying say Toro or Toro Hater now and there's no Toro Hater dealers nearby. Likewise, if you want to get into Still and there's no Still dealers around, then there's no point because you won't have somebody to service your machines. They will service them, but if they're not a Toro dealer they might not be able to deal with warranty. I don't know. I don't know if all tool repair places can do warranty repairs. I don't know. I've only ever deal with Still dealers because all my tools are Still. Now, I don't think Still's the best. I'm not going to tell you to buy Still. For the simple fact is that there probably is better out there, but for me, it's the best tools I've used. I've never really had a bad one. There is a couple of lemons that I bought Still that I just think must just be made by somebody else and painted orange because they're just not on the same like planet as the other Still stuff, but maybe they've just licensed the name out, who knows. But I've got a mix of petrol. When I first started gardening, I started out with all petrol and I bought a combi system. I didn't have a Still mower at that point. I just had I had a Mountfield actually, which was really good mower, but it wasn't commercial in air quotes rated. Now people will say about commercial equipment that you need to buy it. It's, in my opinion, commercial equipment is a lot better built, but at the same time there's plenty of other gardeners that use homeowner grade equipment, or like if you look at the designation, even Still will give some of its tools, they'll say this mower is only a homeowner mower, but other gardeners have used it. The mowers I use, I've got a little Still roller. I probably do 80% of my lawns with that, and that thing's brilliant. But on a Still site, it's rated for homeowner, small to medium lawns. So take what you want from that. I think if you look after your kit and you work for yourself and you're not an animal with your stuff, then you should get plenty of wear, you should get plenty of time out of it. If you service it and you look after it, and when I say look after it, it's just basically services. It's not a case of wiping it down after each use. Then unless you've had a bad one, you should get good use out of it. I would recommend whatever tool you buy, think about it as in the, especially if you're going down a cordless route, look at the best option, because petrol, you can bib and bob and you can have a petrol blower, you can have a petrol strimmer from all different manufacturers, not a problem, there's no crossover, and then you can pick the best lineup. So if you're a husky bloke and you believe they do the best chainsaws and you need a chainsaw, you can buy that. But if you don't like the look of the rest of their petrol gear, you can then go to say Still for a strimmer, or any of the other manufacturers like Honda for the mower, because they have pretty good mowers. I've heard good and bad about the mowers. I've heard that they're really, really good, but repairing them is very expensive, but they don't go wrong very often. Apparently the gearboxes on the mowers are a bit of an issue. Again, you speak to somebody, they'll tell you that, and you speak to somebody else and they'll deny that. Unfortunately, if you're trying to look for somebody to tell you what the best brand of tools are, they'll only give you their findings and their opinion. There isn't one. My next point is, if you do go onto the cordless route, cordless is good if you get into it early with the right amount of batteries. If you just buy one tool and one battery and are expecting to get a full day out of it, then you'll probably be disappointed unless you buy a really big battery. Definitely the hedge cutters are nearly there. They aren't the best. This is my experience of still stuff, by the way. The still hedge trimmers are really good. They aren't the best, I don't believe. I think they could be better. There probably is better out there, but for me they still have been good. But when you're starting your business, you've just got to think about the cost. You can buy a lovely little still blower, petrol, brilliant. But if you wanted to buy a cordless blower, then you really would need at least 2 batteries and a charger with you, because if you've got a lot of blowing, you're going to be cycling through that. The hedge cutter, again, I would recommend you buy 2 batteries. One, you probably could get a full day, but at the same time, if you start running down low and you haven't got electric to top it up, you are hooped. The reason I said earlier about trying to stick to one brand for cordless is because as far as I know, there's no crossover. So you can't just decide to get a still strimmer cordless and then pop the battery into, say, a Husky one. It just doesn't work like that, unfortunately. So do your research and think about what brand you're going to stay with and what's got the best offerings for you. Because if you invest, it's like me, I've invested now in still. I've got probably what I need to be fully cordless. I've got a cordless mower, strimmer, blower, a couple of cordless edge cutters, and they are really good. But every time I go to the local dealer, I look at the Ego mowers and I think they look really nice. I'm not so keen on the power tools that they do other than the mowers, but the dealer, he keeps saying, well, why don't you demo it, why don't you try it? The answer is I would, but I'm too far in. I am. It's, for me now, I'm invested enough in the still stuff that I don't think I'd get the benefits too far, unless, say, the main mowers broke down and I needed a 21 inch. Then I probably would be tempted to try the Ego cordless line of mowers, because for the amount of mowing I do, I'm not mowing acreage. I think I could get by with a cordless and it would be a lot nicer and better for me. Another selling point to the cordless is it's quiet, there's lower vibration, and it's cheaper to run, in air quotes. This video might not time well considering how much electric's going up, but at the moment it's a lot cheaper to run. The servicing's easier, you haven't got it, and what I like about cordless is you just pick it up and it's ready. It's the still stuff, I don't know why, whether it's me, but every still stuff I've ever had, whether it's been the bloke who's tuned it up at the dealership or whether it's just the fact that 2-stroke engines are like this, but you'll pick your tool, you'll start it and you'll do a few minutes of blowing and it'll just conk out, or another day you'll pick it up and it'll just go forever. And then likewise with the strimmer, you will start it with hedge trimmer, you'll climb up your ladders, you'll pull the trigger and it'll just cut out. Super frustrating. With cordless you don't have that. So the key points from this video: there's no perfect brand, you just need to do your research, see what brand you're going to buy into, if they've got the tool coverage that you need. They pretty much all have now, to be fair. They're all got the same offerings. There's no real manufacturer that's got one over on each other in terms of what it can offer you and what it can't offer you. So just do your own work, see what's best for you. Don't be tempted to buy the cheapest or say off-brand. I'd say for me, if I was to buy again and I didn't know better, probably Still or Husky, or even look at getting into the Ego line, because their tools don't look too bad. I believe the first iterations of the tools they did were complete garbage. I'm sure I've even heard that in podcasts where people who work for Ego have admitted that they weren't that good at the start, but now they're supposed to be shaping up and looking pretty decent. So do your homework, think of what's going to be best for you, look what's around you in terms of dealers, because again, if you're going to get big nice Toro mower and there's no Toro dealers around you, or likewise if you're going to get Still stuff and there's no Still dealers around you, then trust me, it will break at the worst possible time, and trying to scrabble around is very frustrating. Me personally, I tend to buy a lot of my tools online, purely because I could do a video on this discussing this to death, but the dealers around me, I honestly don't really have much time for them. They don't have much time for me. I've had a lot of bad experiences where I have dropped stuff in for repair and it's took months and it's come back not working. I'm not a confrontational guy, I don't mention this, if it says that people start causing me injuries, I just deal with it in my own way and just cut it out. So I try and buy as much online as I can and get it delivered, because normally you'll save £100 at least, because some of the prices I've been quoted for tools have been ridiculous, and then I've gone online and got them, and touch wood with Still stuff, you normally get 3 years before it starts to break down, and then you're out the warranty anyway. And if you're doing it commercially, you only get a year's warranty anyway, and then you've got to go scrabbling round to the dealer. Don't get me wrong, there is a dealers, I support them as much as I can, I try and buy as much as I can from them, but when you're on, like me, and you run your gardening business on not a budget as in a tight budget, but I have got to be careful with my money. I am trying to save as much as I can, and if someone wants £100 or even £150 more for the same tool, then just think about whether it's worth it, especially if you don't get service. I remember last year I did go to one of my local dealers and I spent about £2,000, and it was for 3 batteries, a couple of cordless tools and other things to top it up, and from start to finish it took about 3 months for the order to complete. It was, yes, call me next week, ringing up, and he was just bullshitting all the way. Instead of just saying, look Sam, it's going to be 3 months, are you happy with that? I would have been fine with that, but it took ages. So, but this isn't a rant on them. This shouldn't have even been mentioned, because I don't want to offer opinion on other people, but it's very frustrating when things like that do happen, but it is just one of those things, unfortunately. But have a good day. It's starting to rain, not going to be too fun today. Anyway, have a good day now guys. Ta-ra now.